Hey, YouTubers, people on YouTube or internet searches who can find these videos, welcome. Welcome to my video on basically this is about Goodwill, the thrift store known as Goodwill. Now, basically, I was browsing around online and it came up again. I saw Goodwill as I was browsing some media, so I just thought I would make a video about Goodwill. So who would want to watch this video? You might want to watch this if you've ever worked there and just like thinking about it. You may want to watch this video if you just are interested in Goodwill, or if you've never been to a Goodwill store. This could help you think about the Goodwill store and what you might expect by going to a Goodwill store. But yeah, when was this? I worked there. Oh, when was this? Years ago now. Gosh, how long has it been? 5 years. I have no syllabus for this video. I'm just gonna think about it and see what comes to mind. So I was working at Shopko. Oh, I was in this apartment. I got this apartment. I didn't have a job. I didn't have really any money. I didn't have a car. Then finally, did I have a car? I'm trying to remember. Finally, my family helped me get a car. So I got this job at Goodwill. No, first I got a job at Shopko. And I worked there a while. And while I was working at Shopko, I got another job at Goodwill. This was maybe, I don't know, few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And so I got a job at Goodwill. So then I started working at Goodwill and let my job at Shopko go. Now, Shopko has since been demolished and is no longer even here. So that job would have disappeared eventually anyway. But anyways, so here I am working at Goodwill. What to say? What to say about Goodwill? Welcome to the live. If you're interested in Goodwill, feel free to chat. Feel free to send me a chat and say anything you want about Goodwill. Say anything that interests you. If I say some, oh, they left. See, I can never get. I see this chat go up and down. I see the people enter, but I can never get anyone lately. I mean, a long time ago, people have started chatting with me in these live chats, but live streams. But it's like no one will chat with me anymore. I'm like possessed with the spirit of anathema that no one will chat with me on these live chats. Well, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I'm a little put out. They wouldn't chat about Goodwill with me, even though they came to the Goodwill video. But of course, maybe they had a aversion to my voice or aversion to all this crap in the video, and they had a aversion to an old white guy with beard. Maybe they had a aversion to a lot of things. But yeah, so okay, one thing that's coming to mind is jeans. So I recently made a video about carpenter jeans and how when I was a younger person in my teens or 20s, I had a pair of carpenter jeans. You know, they've got the little loop, and okay, so those are carpenter jeans. But so on the topic of jeans, and I'm bringing this topic into this video, is Goodwill. And then if you want to shop for jeans, Goodwill carries jeans. They have a bunch of jeans. Do all Goodwills have jeans? Probably. I don't know. My guess is they're all kind of similar. But I can't say for sure. There are Goodwills all over the United States, to the best of my knowledge. Southern United States, Hawaii. You could look it up, see, and they're regional. I think they're kind of regional. It's like one company, but also regional. So I don't know all the ins and outs, of course, of corporate Goodwill or how it all works. But yeah, there's like multiple Goodwills in Honolulu. I looked this up, I saw this. Honolulu in Hawaii. Wouldn't that be great? Live in Hawaii and work at a Goodwill. I mean, geez, living in Hawaii, tropical. Is it the tropics? Technically the scientific tropics. Anyways, isn't it kind of tropical there? But I was thinking, of course, what that Goodwill has is lots of Hawaiian shirts. Around the United States, are you going to find a lot of Hawaiian shirts? The Goodwills in Hawaii or Honolulu must have tons of Hawaiian shirts. Everyone gives their Hawaiian shirts to donate to Goodwill, and then there's a lot of Hawaiian shirts for sale there, I'm sure. Okay, so I swirled around to all these topics, but back to jeans. No, I don't want to go back to jeans. I just want to think about Hawaii. I just want to think about Hawaii. Goodwill. There are Goodwills in Hawaii. Wouldn't it have been interesting if while I was working at Goodwill, they had some kind of employee transfer system, which would have allowed me to go live in Hawaii and work at the Goodwill in Hawaii? That would have been interesting to me back at the time. Now, I don't know anymore. Sure, maybe it's still interesting. But you could have lived in Hawaii and worked at a Goodwill in Hawaii if only these corporations would set up a system to allow these employees to do this. Then they could experience new places in life. Because it's hard for people of poverty and lower incomes very often to have mobility and to experience new people and places. But if they built that into the system, they could make it part of the system. Or would people not even care? Would there be enough people to even care about that, to make that a reality, to make it worth it? Or would there be a lot of people that would say, yeah, I'd love to do that? Target could do it. Target could transfer people around the country more easily. I mean, they could create a system to help facilitate that for people or something. I don't know. I guess one idea, you just save up money and save up enough money and do it yourself. If the system doesn't facilitate it, you just got to use all everything, all the infrastructure in the world that's in place to help you do it yourself. Save up money and do it yourself, I guess. But people who are, of course, if you're just getting by month to month, you don't have enough money. It's going to take some money probably to help get that accomplished. Would definitely be pretty helpful for that. Okay, once again, now I'll go back to jeans. So, I don't know. This topic is thoughts and recollections of a Goodwill. So I went to Hawaii, Goodwill in the topic, and whatnot. Okay, so back to jeans. If you want to shop for jeans, there are probably you can get jeans at Goodwill. At the local Goodwill store here that I worked at, there are specific amounts of jeans for people. So guys' jeans. Are there a lot of guys' jeans? Not as much at this Goodwill. Probably at every Goodwill. This Goodwill had like one, I don't know if it was one row of guys' jeans. And however many jeans they had on that row. You know, they have the guys' jean sizes going from the small, guys' jeans are waist and length, right? So you had size, what's the smallest adult male or guy's jean size, waist size? Late 20s, 28, 20 something. Then it gets up to 30s and 40s or whatever. And then length 31, 32, 33, 34, whatever. So for amounts of jeans, they have some guys' jeans at Goodwill, but they have a lot of women's jeans. They have row after row after row after row, a whole big section, and a ton of women's jeans. Again, male's jeans, kind of like one row, however many jeans are there. Sometimes not so much. But for women's, they have a lot of women's jeans. So I worked with the jeans. I worked with the male jeans. I worked with the jeans or clothes, the whole store. So they have the female jeans. So I'm thinking male sizes. It goes waist size and length. What's the female? Female sizes are different than male sizes for jeans, apparently, I guess. Female sizes start out at the smallest size is 00. And then 0. There's actually a 0. I don't know how many people know this, but there's a 0 size jeans. It is very small and petite. Adult women jean. And then 0. And then 1, 2, 3. Right. This is women's jeans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So women's jeans go from 00 up to what? 0 to 10, 10 to 20. 20 to 30. So it goes up. I don't even remember exactly how high it goes. As the number gets bigger, I guess the jeans get bigger, of course. But to the best of my knowledge, they don't typically have waist size and length. So I guess as a female or a woman, you just have to figure out what your size is. It isn't even a waist size and a length size, I guess. It's just a number. Which doesn't exactly make, I don't know, how do you even get the right jeans? Because for a guy, it's like waist and length. Say I have say you're 31, 32. Your waist is 31 and your length is 32. That makes sense. So how the heck is zeros through all these numbers going to get you the correct waist and length? I guess maybe it's just like averages. A really petite, small woman, 00 has a certain leg length. And as the numbers go up, I don't understand. Can you have women who are really skinny and very tall? And can you have a woman who's very skinny and have every height? Or can't you have a woman as women get bigger and bigger in size? Can't they also have any height? So how do the jeans are supposed to work? I don't know. How is the length of the jeans and the waist size supposed to work on women's jeans? If you have comments about this, please leave them below. It'd be interesting to hear your comments. But so yeah, this is my thinking from working at Goodwill and working with these jeans. All these, and then there's the kids. There's a kids section. I guess a boys and girls kids section, and then there's a like toddlers and infants section. So you have infants and toddlers, then you have kids, girls and boys, then you have all the adult women's, I guess, and adult men's jeans. So but again, now it's not only jeans. There are tons of women's blouses and shirts and all this tops. Yes, there are guys' tops too. But the guys' section is like this big. There's like this much room for the guys' section. But the women's section of the store for clothing is like way bigger. It is like this big. So women apparently just generally are either way more into clothes for shopping and buying. Women are way more into shopping for clothes and jeans and shirts and tops and everything. And guys have a smaller section, at least at the Goodwill. Just a huge difference. Huge difference. Now, part of your job at Goodwill, there's these different roles there. If you're going to get a job at Goodwill, there are different roles that you can get a job. What was my role? My role was, I don't know if they use this term at Goodwill. I used to work at a Target, and I think one of my positions was basically sales floor. And I'm not sure if they use that specific term at Goodwill. But that's basically, I was basically on the sales floor as part of, I was basically on the sales floor as part of my job at Goodwill. But I don't think they technically use the term like Target sales floor. What the role actually is they're constantly getting donations. They have these people in back, and one of the role is a processor who processes the donations, who takes them donations, looks at them, decides if they want the donation, and they put a price on it. So that's like a processor. And then they put it in a cart with if it's a physical item, a hard line physical item, they put it in a box to bring out on a cart with like a tray. Or if it's a clothing item, they have a rack on wheels. They put all the clothing, they put the price on, put it on the rack. So my job was going back to get this items from the back of the store, wheeling it out there and putting it away, putting it out for sale. You kind of do this all day long, or a lot, because they are constantly, like during the day, business hours or whatever, during donation hours, they're constantly getting new items, constantly processing them and putting them out on the sales. So that was my job. You go get the item in the back room and you put it out on the sales floor. So you bring out racks of clothing. You put it in the right section, whether it's kids or toddlers or adult males or men or women's jeans or clothes or whatever. You just put it away. You pick the item off the rack. You look at it, decide where it goes, and bring it there and put it where it's supposed to go, where you think it's supposed to go. Same with the hard lines, the physical hard material goods. You look at it and you just try to figure out where the heck it goes. Whether it's a plate or a record or so basically mine is constantly just, where do you put this item? You just go put it in the right section where it's supposed to go. So maybe I'll create a syllabus. I don't know. Maybe I'll create a syllabus of this video so that if you ever want it to work, or if you're thinking about applying to a Goodwill, you can say, well, you could watch this video and think, oh, this might be something this is some guy talking about what you do there, different roles and what you do there. Maybe it'll help you out. I don't know. So, yeah, processors. What does a processor do? They take the donated goods, put the price on it over and over. You sit there, stand there, whatever, and do that. You got the donations attendant. They had me do that. I don't remember the term, but I was sales floor who brought the items out and put them away. But they also had me a few days do donation attendant. So I go to the back room and the cars drive up and you take their donations and give them a receipt maybe and bring the donations in or put them in the bin or talk to them a little bit or whatever. So that's a donations attendant. You just help people get the donations. You work with the donations right as they come into the store. But another thing they had me do was cashiering. So I worked as a cashier, actually quite a bit. Between putting the donations in and out and working as a cashier, that's basically what I did. So you just, as a cashier, of course, just cashiering. You run the cash register, you answer the phone, you interact with people who are customers. Sometimes you have to interact with the backroom people, the processors, or some amount of price. But thoughts and recollections of Goodwill. There's a break room, of course. You got where all employees at retail stores, they take breaks, right? Or lunch breaks or 15 or 10-minute breaks. So there's a break room like is basically always in retail, and maybe there's a fridge, the fridge to put your food in, maybe, and I think they had of course, you often have a vending machine or whatever, drinks and candy bars or chips or whatever. And also in retail, you clock in and clock out. You punch your numbers in or however that works. There's fingerprint scanner buttons, and it's hourly. So you clock in when you get there and you clock in when you leave. And there's a little room with lockers in it. Put your code in. I don't know what the current cell phone rules are. I think I saw people at Target using their cell phones. They used to not let you even keep a cell phone out there, I think. But now I've been seeing employees keeping their cell phones. So I wonder if the rules are changing in retail. I wonder if they're starting to let people keep their cell phones on them while you're out being an employee. Maybe that has all changed a little bit. So, thoughts and recollections of Goodwill. And have a lot more. There's a lot of Goodwills in the metro area here, and I shopped them for a while. I spent some time driving to these because there's so many of them, really. So I spent some time driving around to all these Goodwills at some point. It's some years ago now, and I would shop at them and try to find interesting or good items. Different Goodwills get different items because they're in different communities and they have different types of items there. So not all Goodwills have the same items because it's like local donations. So whatever the local community is, that's the local donations they're getting. Yes, I think they also ship some items around sometimes. Ship them to a warehouse, store them, maybe ship them back. Having to do with donation flow and supplementing donations or storing them for off season and then bringing them back during the right season, seasonal items or whatever. But yeah, I shopped around in the metro Goodwills for a while. Just something to do. But I found a little personal video. I didn't use it too much. I used it a little bit. I found I don't even know where it went. It's a family house or something, but it's like a little personal video game system. It's like I'm trying to remember if it was a PSP or something. Gosh, I don't know where that went. Used to game as a youth, but just haven't done a lot. You can find stuff. People can donate kind of anything. People can donate brand new items to Goodwill. It could be used, but it could also be brand new. So you could be going through there and find some brand new item or whatever. Plus, I think Goodwill can make deals with some people. They buy some items new at some type of discount, like for whatever reason, and then they put them for sale. So they even sell some new items themselves in some categories. But retail's changing. I also saw now advertised. Oh, I saw it in a YouTube video feed. Someone presented. They're doing an app now with more. Maybe there's multiple apps for this. An app where you can buy thrift clothing, used or thrift clothing through the app. You can buy and sell through the app. So here we see the continued evolution to a cyber reality, like Amazon is online and they ship to your house. So here we see the shift or the emergence of thrift store markets going online, like for clothing or whatnot, where you can buy and sell thrift items, thrift clothing online. I did see some Goodwills online auctioning, online doing that. Would I ever work at a Goodwill again? Well, I left on good terms. I actually got another job working as a merchandising firm at a home improvement store, and I did that for a season. After that, and then after that, I did that for a season. Then after that, I drove some for Lyft and tried that. But I guess I left all those jobs. I guess I've always left jobs. Basically, one time I just left a job. Otherwise, I've always left jobs. I've had like 13 jobs, and I always left them on good terms. I guess 2-week notice and all this stuff. Usually, almost every time. And I don't know. Just don't know. Thoughts and recollections of Goodwill thrift stores. Another job I did there was cleaning the bathroom. They have employees who work there just take their turn some cleaning the bathroom. So I guess I did that a few times. People can be messy shoppers. All these retail jobs, people can mess stuff up and leave stuff everywhere, and you just got to clean up after them. Or at the end of the day, you got to organize it all and clean it all up as a retail employee. Fitting rooms, there could be piles of clothes, tons of clothes sitting there in the fitting rooms. Geez, I was in a Kohl's one time. There were so many clothes just piled up. I mean, it was mind-boggling putting all those clothes away. Gosh, at Target, working sales floor at Target, a big Target, row after row of hardline goods. At the end of the day or periodically throughout the day, you have to clean everything up. You have to make it all look good. You have to make sure everything's in its right spot. You have to get rid of, you have to gather up all these abandoned items. You have to go through row after row, every single row, and do that to every item in every row and clean it all up. Now, I heard that the Norwegian country or Norwegian people are shocked at this. I heard that they believe you should clean up after yourself, and they believe you should put an item back in its place, and they might not believe that you should make a bunch of work for being messy for a retail employee. But in the United States, or from what I'm aware of, and from working in retail, people can be very messy. And I heard that Norwegians are shocked at this, or I don't know if this is accurate, but that's what I heard. They're shocked at this, and they just can't believe how messy people are, and how much work they make for all these retail employees by being messy. So, thoughts and recollections of Goodwill, thoughts and recollections of retail. Is it transferring into more of a cyber retail reality? I guess so. Amazon, online apps, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and retail around the world. I guess every country in the world, I guess, would have its version of retail and the retail reality. Maybe there are similarities, maybe there are also differences. I keep seeing in the news constantly or not constantly, but I keep seeing in the news, caught it more than once, that a bunch of Walgreens were getting robbed so much in getting robbed so much in San Francisco that they've closed 7 Walgreens stores in the San Francisco area. Because people are stealing so much, they just close the stores. That's the news or story I heard. But I was around that working in my retail jobs a little bit. At Target, I worked at, I was aware of AP at Target, Assets Protection. And sometimes when you get these retail jobs, they will introduce you to AP. They'll introduce you to Assets Protection or the security people, and they'll talk to you and show you. Maybe they'll tell you what to do if you see theft or crime or theft or shoplifting. Maybe they'll you call the number or what. Maybe you tell AP someone's, they don't want stealing, so they, whatever. Now, Goodwill had cameras everywhere, but they didn't. I don't remember that they ever introduced me to the people watching the cameras or what the deal was, or AP or any Assets Protection or the security people. I think they were there, and I think I guess there were people watching the cameras. But as a retail employee of Goodwill, I don't remember them ever introducing me to that or what's going on with that, with our cameras and everything. Well, they have like people in criminal or probation work there for volunteer or as parole or whatever it is. They'll have them come and work in the store too, is my understanding. But like if you get a job at Target or Target, I worked at Target, Sears, and Shopko. And I believe at all those stores, they introduce you to Assets Protection or the security camera people. They introduce you to them and show you what they're doing and let you know they're there, and maybe talk to them, get to know them a little bit. And so, because you're going to be their coworker as a retail employee, the idea is you're their coworker and everything. But they didn't do that at Goodwill. Years ago, I had a job at Office Max too, and they didn't. I don't know much about. I don't know if Office Max had Assets Protection either. Of course, at Office Max, they told you that a third of actual theft is employee theft. That's what they told me at Office Max. A third of the theft or something is internal or employees stealing things. So Assets Protection not only has to watch customers, apparently, but if Office Max information means anything, they also have to watch out for employees who will steal and everything. Also, years ago, I was working at a help desk, an internet help desk, and I put in my 2 weeks notice after a while because I was looking into insurance, but they offered me another job. It was some type of security monitoring position where you monitor all these security cameras or something, or you take calls or work with all these. They're like outsourcing and working with monitoring security cameras. So you watch the cameras or something, You got to be an employee who they never told me actually what the job entailed. I was never trained in because I put in my 2 weeks of notice, so they offered me this other job in the company, which is kind of weird because years later, some HR person or job search headhunter or HR called me up and said, "Oh, do you want a video monitoring security position or whatever it was?" It's like someone years later offered me out of the blue, kind of looked at my resume online or something, and offered me the same job they offered me years ago at this other job. That's the way I'm thinking of it or interpreting it, I guess. But anyway, this thoughts and recollections of Goodwill has kind of become general thoughts about retail jobs and memories of retail jobs and thinking about retail. So guess I'll cut this video loose, and if you watch it and it educates you about retail or retail jobs or Goodwill or any of these places and helps you think about if you would like to apply there and work in the retail environment, the brick and mortar retail jobs, then I'm glad it helps you to work on that if you like. And I haven't worked with these cyber retailers, so I can't help you out with that. But take care. Have a good day or night.